What is going on, YouTube people? We got a lot to get into, so we're just going to go ahead and dive straight in. This weekend, or this beginning part of this week, Sunday through Tuesday, I believe it runs, is the Topps Industry Conference Summit, whatever you want to call it, down in Atlanta, Georgia, at the College Football Hall of Fame. This event in the past was open to the public. This year, it is very much limited to shops and breakers only. Obviously, there are some content creators there that own shops or do breaking, like Card Collector 2, Jeff Wilson, Slab Stocks, those sorts of guys. But this was not an open event that any old person could attend to. I dabbled around trying to attend when it was first announced. I was excited because it wasn't open to the public last year. So I was hoping to purchase a ticket and be able to go down, but it is more locked down this year. But we have a boatload of news coming out of this event in various shapes and sizes, and we have a lot of stuff to run down. They are also teasing a major product announcement or something. I don't know if I assume that's going to leak out sometime today. On Tuesday, I'm recording this Monday evening, so there may be another video following this one up Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday, depending on how big and bad that news is. Let's go ahead and dive straight into this. First up, sports card nonsense. Geo is down at the summit, did a fantastic breakdown of all this stuff on their podcast. It's over on Spotify or anywhere else that you listen to podcasts. I had heard bits and pieces of some of this stuff, but he does a much better job summing it up. I would highly recommend going to check out this episode. Whether you like Geo and Jesse or not, they do a fantastic job in this episode breaking that stuff down. Sports Collectors Daily also had a couple different articles on it that we will reference here in a minute. The main couple talking points that come out of this, and there's a lot. We'll kick off with this one. The audit. They have performed a third-party audit on the air quote loaded boxes thing. Now, I have no illusions this is actually going to change anybody's mind. I like the fact that they're doing it. I like the fact that they said they are going to continue to do it, because Panini has never even thought about doing anything like this, let alone publicly stating that they are. But if you are firmly in the camp that loaded boxes exist, they could come out with all the audits in the world. You could probably go audit the thing yourself, and you're probably still not going to be convinced. If you are in the other camp that is, hey, I don't believe loaded boxes exist, I feel like it would be too difficult, whatever your argument points are for it, this will be ammunition for you to say, see, look, they audited, what else do you want them to do? I'm just sitting here pointing out the fact that it happened, because like I said, there are going to be certain people that it doesn't matter what they do, this isn't going to matter, and there will be another camp of people that will use this as ammunition against those people. Frankly, I fall somewhere in the middle. I lean towards it's probably too much of a pain in the butt for them to do it on a mass scale. I think it really still comes down to a math equation in regards to how much product they break. Now, remember, this is Topps specific. I have no idea what the hell Panini's doing over on their side. They brought in a fairly big name in this KPMG auditor, and they're ultimately sticking their reputation on the line by putting their name on this, saying we give them the all clear. So, like I said, take it with a grain of salt if you want to, or use it to double down in your arguments in Facebook groups if you want to as well. But I did think that it was interesting that they brought that to the forefront. It does seem to be a sticking point, not a sticking point, but something that they definitely want to address. I don't think they enjoy all the loaded box talk out on the internet, so they want to try to squash that as much as possible. We'll get into some Fanatics event stuff in a minute. I want to circle back to something that Geo talked about pretty exclusively on the podcast, and it was stuff that I've been hearing trickle out throughout the day as well. And that kind of is, Fanatics is really going to be doubling down on you need to get on board with the program. If you remember a year or so ago, that document leaked about basically standards and practices that they want shops to follow. You know, certain store hours, certain lighting, certain displays, do this, do that. And at the time, we're all like, oh, you know, that's cute, that's cool, okay. You know, some of this stuff makes sense, some of the stuff's a little, huh. And it was essentially if you are the old school shop that I used to go into as a kid, where there was boxes of commons everywhere and people chain smoking behind the counter and 1.5 light bulbs worked in the place while you dug through 89 tops, that's not exactly the people that they are looking to work with. They want someone with a modern shop. They want a card collector too. They want an indie card exchange. They want a 101 Sports in Cleveland. They want Kentucky Roadshow, so on, so forth. They want you running trade nights. They want you being present on social media, making content, marketing your business and Fanatics business. And basically, here's the bottom line from what I heard from multiple people. And like I said, Gio backed this up on his podcast. It's essentially fall in line, or we'll just move on to the next person. We have the product. You need us more than we need you. And like I said, Gio echoed that statement as well. And that's the same vibe that I got in chatting with people today. That they control all the cards, literally and figuratively. And there is someone standing in line behind you that is willing to go above and beyond to take your spot. They are going so far as it sounds like they are going to have an audit team that will be coming out and essentially auditing shops. And if you are not in compliance with the stuff that they want, there are going to be varying degrees. And if you get so bad, it will affect your allocation and you could potentially lose allocation. So Fanatics is going to want you to play by their rules. And if you don't like it, that's fine. But you are not going to get allocated product. I am sure there are a lot of people that are excited about this. If you're young, up and coming, just opened a shop, you're aggressive about pursuing social media stuff, maybe you have a YouTube channel, you know, you're doing a lot of IG content, whatever the case might be, you're really getting after it in the streets, Fanatics is going to shine favorably on someone like you. If you're the grumpy old man that is still pricing cards out of Beckett and hoping to make your quick buck on flipping cases, your time might be coming to an end. And I have a feeling people do not like change. They do not like change. And I am sure there are a lot of grumpy people in that room, as many as are that are super excited about all this. They want a modern operating marketing machine. They don't want dingy old, a mom is afraid to bring her kid into the shop to get a pack of baseball cards. So if you're out there and you're running a shop, I'm sure you got all this information more than I did. You better get your act together if you want to either get allocation or keep allocation. It's Fanatics product. They can do whatever they want with it. So you got to play by their rules. They are the Greek. If you get the wire reference on that, if you know, you know. They're the Greek. Ruben and Fanatics is the Greek. They control it all. They control where it goes. Next up, Fanatics Events. We have 2 more locations. The much rumored, been hearing this for about a week or so, Orlando and Pittsburgh are the next 2 spots. Orlando is going to be in November. Pittsburgh is going to be at the end of September. Orlando is at the Orlando Convention Center. I'm sure a lot of people will make a nice little weekend trip out of that. Hey, honey, take the kids and go hit Disney. I'm heading to the card show. I'm sure there will be a lot of those conversations going on for that week. That is rumored to be a more card show focused event. They kind of give Sports Collectors Daily here, gives a little breakdown on kind of how these things are going to go. The PNC Park, that's right, the one in Pittsburgh will be at PNC Park. Sounds like it's going to be a little bit of a smaller style event. PNC Park is absolutely fantastic. The Pirates are not home that weekend, obviously. Gorgeous ballpark. One of the best ballparks in the entire country, in my opinion. I actually probably have it number 1. I have not been to every single major league park, but I've been to quite a few. I think I have PNC number 1. I think I have Safeco number 2 up in Seattle. I'm not even sure if it's still called Safeco anymore. PNC Park is fantastic, but they do give a little breakdown here where, and this is kind of what we've been speculating on when this was first announced, flagship style shows, that's New York City. Regional shows, that's Orlando. And then venue specific, that's the PNC Park one. And then they also talk about partnered events, and they're talking strictly around things like the draft. So the NFL draft was in Detroit last week. They would have some sort of Fanatics event around that. Probably this is also in the similar vein to what they did with WrestleMania not too terribly long ago. So the events on those might vary in shape and size depending on what's going on around it. But that is essentially what you're looking at. I have to imagine these larger flagship shows will be like New York City, maybe Vegas, maybe LA, something like that. One on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. We'll see how that all breaks down. I have a feeling the larger regional shows, that's going to be more of a, and they even give the breakdown here that Fanatics Fest in New York is going to be 65% fandom / culture and 35% collecting. And that's kind of the vibe that I've been getting. That is a much more Comic Con style event versus card show. This regional event that's happening in Orlando, limited details so far, but that sounds like more of a large scale traditional card show. Think of Dallas or something along those lines. That is going to be a much bigger show. I think Mealy Pops posted that they had heard that was going to be 900 tables. That's a big show. That, I think, will bounce around a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw one there. That one sounds like a direct, Fanatics Fest in New York does not sound like a threat to the National. It sounds like it's going to be a different vibe, catering to slightly different people. This Orlando thing, if I was owner operator of one of these regional shows like a Dallas, a Burbank, a Philly, Chantilly, East Coast National, that style of show, this feels like a direct assault on those styles of shows. And maybe they end up partnering with some of these people. I would not be surprised in the least, and this is just pure gut, I have no inside information on this. I would not be surprised in the least if Dallas ends up becoming some sort of Fanatics show and Burbank ends up becoming some sort of Fanatics show. I would not be surprised if Fanatics approach them and offer to partner or buy them out or whatever the case might be, because those feel like two really good locations for something like that. I would love it if something like this came to Columbus. You could do it in the Blue Jackets Arena, or there's a really nice convention center in downtown Columbus. I would love for one of these major shows to come to Columbus. I feel like it would do fantastic there. But this feels like a threat more to like the Chicago Sports Spectacular, that sort of stuff. That big card show that Minnesota just had. That feels like what this midline level thing is. I'll be curious to see how this PNC Park thing plays out. I actually already booked a hotel for that. As soon as this was announced, I immediately hopped on, and let me tell you, they already jacked the rates up. Part of that could be the Steelers' schedule hasn't been announced yet, and I wonder if they just keep the rates jacked high through the weekends throughout football season, just in case. But the hotel rates that weekend were absurd for what a hotel should run in downtown Pittsburgh, but I did book a hotel for that just to cover it. I can cancel it if I need to. So I am planning on attending the Pittsburgh Fanatics events. I will not be at the Orlando one, and I am also planning on attending the New York one and check these things out and start getting a feel for what these things are like. That's the other big news, is the events roll out, and we are now kind of starting to get a feel and have them paint a picture for us on what this stuff is going to look like. The final piece of information, and there's probably some stuff that I'm forgetting. Actually, two things. Another thing, and Gio mentioned this on his podcast, officially licensed basketball is coming in October of 2025. Officially licensed football is coming in April of 2026. So still a year away, basically, a little over a year away from Topps Chrome basketball being back in our lives, and 2 years away from, basically exactly 2 years away, April 2026. Exactly 2 years away from Topps Chrome football being back in our life, along with who knows what else for products. That October 2025, that'll be right before the NBA season starts. October is right when the NBA season starts. I would have to imagine we see Topps flagship right out of the gates, followed up by Topps Chrome. And April 2026, that would be right after the NFL draft. I would not be surprised if very shortly after the NFL draft, we get a Series 1 flagship product right out of the get with the new class and everything. Because remember, they'll be able to reset the schedule and start strong. Panini's way off the tracks. That alone will be a huge advantage for them, is being able to start on schedule. So that will be interesting as well. Last big piece, redemptions. They have basically changed up their redemption program. Very nice change here. I'm sure there's going to be some people pissed about this because they get kind of caught in the middle. But basically, any redemption since Fanatics took over 2021 and newer is now good for 10 years, and all redemptions going forward will be good for 10 years. So they are backdating this a couple of years to make them good for 10 years. A very nice positive change on that one. For the most part, Topps has been pretty good for me personally on redemptions. I've only had a handful. I have one pending with them from 2022 Topps update. It is a Vlad Guerrero black gold number to 10 auto. And he signs a lot, so I'm wondering if there is a particular issue with that card in the manufacturing process, because I feel like that should be out by now. So we'll see if I ever actually see that card or they replace it with something else. They talk about how they got redemptions down. I think a lot of that was them just replacing stuff, not actually fulfilling the actual redemption, but we'll see. And then, like I said, a 10-year extension and 10 years going forward. That's honestly pretty good. That feels like a very positive change overall. So that is kind of the breakdown from afar. Like I said, I am not in the building. I am relying on people that are there. And like I said, a nice assist from the Sports Card Nonsense podcast and some Sports Collector Daily stuff we are reacting to, if you will. We'll see what today brings. There are, like I said, they teased, Jeff Wilson teased it, Gio mentioned it, and I've heard from a few other people some rumblings about some sort of major announcements tomorrow. So we will see what shakes out of that. Or maybe they keep it under wraps. I doubt it. I doubt it'll stay under wraps. There's just too many people there. It'll leak out to somebody somewhere. But probably another Topps conference video tomorrow. We will see. Curious for your thoughts and comments as always down below. We will catch you on the next one. Peace.